I'm Daniel Ruth. I'm 98 years old. And today, I'm going to tell you something that most people in the personal finance and credit industries don't want you to hear. They've been quietly letting you fall into traps that are disguised as convenience, opportunity, or financial empowerment. But in reality, they're designed to extract your money over decades, little by little, until most people are trapped in cycles of debt they never fully escape. I've been investing and observing money for over 70 years. And during that time, I've watched billions of dollars lost, not through bad luck, not through market crashes, but through something far simpler and far more insidious. High-interest debt. Credit cards, payday loans, predatory lending, buy now, pay later schemes, over-leveraged personal loans. These are not your friends. They are quietly designed to make money off your mistakes and your ignorance. Most people think debt is just a tool. They think as long as they pay the minimum, they're fine. They think interest is negligible. But here's the cold, hard truth. Compound interest works against you just as powerfully as it works for you. And when it's running in reverse, when it's your debt growing instead of your investments, there's no tool more destructive than compound interest. Let me tell you a story from real life that illustrates this quickly. When I was a young man, one of my colleagues, a brilliant doctor, sharp, disciplined in most areas of life, fell into a cycle of credit card debt. He didn't live extravagantly. He didn't buy luxury cars or yachts. He bought what most people would call normal. Groceries, household items, some occasional conveniences. But he didn't pay attention to the interest rates. He only paid the minimum balance. Over time, the debt grew. What started as a few $1,000s became tens of thousands. And what was shocking to him was that even though he made regular payments for years, his balance barely decreased. In some months, it even increased. He was paying thousands of dollars in interest alone. And he didn't even feel he was doing anything wrong. He wasn't reckless, he just didn't understand the mechanics. That's the reality for millions of Americans today. Most people don't even realize how much of their hard-earned money goes straight into the pockets of banks and lenders. And here's the most dangerous part. It's completely legal. The system is designed so that you think you're in control, while the money slowly disappears. Let's break down exactly how this works. Credit cards, for instance, often carry interest rates of 15% to 25%, sometimes more. That may not sound shocking at first, but consider this. If you have a $5,000 balance at 20% interest and only pay the minimum each month, it could take more than 15 years to pay off. And during that time, you'll pay more in interest than the original debt. More money goes to the credit card company than you actually borrowed. That is the silent killer of wealth. And it gets worse. Many people carry multiple credit cards, each with a different interest rate, different minimum payments, and different due dates. The mental stress alone is crushing. You think you're managing your debt, but you're juggling an ever-growing avalanche. And because you're paying the minimum, your principal barely shrinks. You're trapped. And the trap is invisible until it's almost too late. The financial industry often justifies this by saying, "We're giving people flexibility. We're offering financial tools. We're helping you manage cash flow." But let's be clear. There's nothing flexible about paying thousands in interest for years on money you already earned. And there's nothing helpful about creating systems that profit when you struggle. Now, let's talk about another trap. Payday loans and buy now, pay later schemes. These have exploded in popularity over the last decade. They sound convenient. Need $500 today? Pay it back next month? Buy this laptop now, pay later in 4 installments with no interest. But the hidden truth is that when people miss even one payment, penalties, fees, and retroactive interest can pile up, turning a small, manageable purchase into a mountain of debt. Many people think, I'm not overspending, I can handle this. But what they fail to realize is that financial institutions profit massively from late fees, penalties, and compounding interest. These systems are designed not for your success, but for their profit. Here's what I've learned over 70+ years about debt. Debt is not inherently evil. Debt can be a tool, but mismanaged debt is a wealth destroyer. And mismanagement happens far more often than people think. Not because people are bad with money, but because they were never educated about the mechanics. Let me give you a practical framework to protect yourself. Step 1. Track every dollar. You cannot fight what you don't measure. Know exactly how much you owe, at what rate, and what your minimum payment is. Create a simple spreadsheet or use an app. But be diligent. Ignorance is your enemy. Step 2. Prioritize high-interest debt. The debt with the highest interest rate should be your first target. Credit cards, payday loans, and personal loans are usually the worst. Attack them aggressively. Pay more than the minimum every month. Even small additional payments compound to huge savings over time. Step 3. Avoid accumulating new debt. Stop using credit cards for anything you cannot pay in full immediately. Stop buying things on financing that aren't necessities. Buy now, pay later schemes might feel convenient, but they are often a gateway into long-term financial stress. Step 4. Build an emergency fund. Many people fall into debt not because of overspending, but because of unexpected events. Medical bills, car repairs, job loss. Keep 6 months of expenses in a savings account. This is your financial buffer. It keeps you from sliding back into debt. Step 5. Leverage the snowball or avalanche method. Snowball. Pay off the smallest debt first to gain momentum. Avalanche. Pay off the highest interest debt first to minimize total interest. Either approach works. The key is discipline and consistency. Step 6. Learn about interest, compounding, and the time value of money. Understand how debt grows and compare it to how your investments grow. If your debt is growing faster than your money invested, you're losing wealth. It's that simple. Now, some people will say, Daniel, I need credit cards for building credit. That's true to an extent, but you can build a perfect credit history without ever paying interest. Use one card, pay it in full every month, never carry a balance. The industry wants you to carry balances because that's where the profit is. You don't need it to grow your financial future. Here's a story that illustrates the hidden danger of ignorance. A friend of mine, a teacher, carried $3,000 in credit card debt for over a decade. She made her minimum payments diligently. But when I ran the numbers for her, she had paid over $6,000 in interest, twice her original debt, without even realizing it. By the time she realized, the snowball had grown, and she was angry, not at herself, but at the system that made her feel responsible while quietly extracting her money. The lesson is simple but rarely taught. Money grows faster when it's invested than when it's used to pay unnecessary interest. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that cannot grow. Every year you carry debt unnecessarily costs you decades of wealth accumulation. And here's what most people fail to see. This isn't just about money. Debt affects your life in ways that are less obvious. It creates anxiety. It limits freedom. It affects relationships. People argue over finances more than any other topic. It erodes trust and happiness. And all of this for something that could have been prevented with knowledge, discipline, and a simple strategy. If I had to summarize 70 years of observing money, investing, and financial behavior in one line, it would be this: debt is not your enemy. Mismanaged debt is. High-interest debt is a silent tax on your life, and ignorance is the architect. So what should you do starting today? Crack your balances. Pay off high-interest debt. Avoid creating new debt. Build savings. Educate yourself. And never ever underestimate the power of compounding, both for your investments and against your debt. I'm 98 years old. I've seen it all. I've seen fortunes built and fortunes destroyed. And let me tell you, there is no investment more important than financial freedom from unnecessary debt. Nothing compounds faster than money that is allowed to grow, unburdened by interest, unchained by obligation. And if you apply these principles, if you really take control, you can transform your financial life faster than most people realize. You can invest the same money, save the same money, and dramatically increase your wealth simply by eliminating the hidden drains on it. If this message resonated with you, if it opened your eyes to the hidden costs that banks and lenders rarely tell you about, then I encourage you to subscribe. Subscribe to this channel to hear more long-form insights on money, investing, and financial freedom. Hit the like button if you learned something today. Share this video with someone you care about, because understanding debt isn't just about money. It's about your life. And here's another truth that most people don't want to admit. Death is also a teacher. The problem isn't death itself. It's how we respond to it. I've seen people crushed by debt, and I've seen people turn it into a catalyst for discipline, education, and long-term financial growth. The difference is awareness. The difference is strategy. For instance, let's take a typical household with $20,000 in credit card debt at an average 22% interest rate. Minimum payments are around $500 a month. Most people think they're making progress. They feel responsible. They feel safe. But here's the reality. If nothing changes, it could take over 10 years to pay it off. And during that time, they will pay more in interest than the principal itself. That is how quietly and ruthlessly debt destroys wealth. Contrast that with someone who takes the same $500 per month, but applies it to a strategic plan, targeting the highest interest cards first, consolidating balances if necessary, and avoiding new debt. The debt can be eliminated in 3 to 4 years, saving tens of thousands of dollars and years of stress. The difference is knowledge and execution. And let me tell you another secret the banks don't want you to know. Many of these interest rates are negotiable. You can call your credit card company and request a lower rate. If you have a history of payments, they often comply. Yet most people never try because they assume the system is fixed, that rules are absolute. It's not. The system wants you to assume helplessness because helplessness keeps profits flowing. Now some people will say, "Daniel, I invest. Isn't paying off debt less important than growing my investments?" Let me be very clear. High interest debt is guaranteed loss, while investing is uncertain gain. There is no scenario in which a 20% credit card interest is comparable to stock market returns. Eliminating that debt is mathematically superior to chasing investment returns while carrying it. Every financial expert will tell you this if they're honest. But few people listen because the promise of wealth from investing sounds exciting, while paying off debt feels boring. Let's talk about another dangerous trend. Buy now, pay later schemes. They are marketed as a modern convenience, but psychologically, they train you to ignore costs and defer consequences. Missing a payment triggers fees and penalties that grow exponentially. People think they're clever, thinking, "I'll pay it off later." But the system rewards procrastination, and if you don't pay attention, it becomes a debt avalanche. And this isn't just theoretical. I've personally tracked dozens of families over decades who fell for this. One family purchased a series of electronics and furniture through these schemes. Small payments at first, a few missed payments, a few late fees, and suddenly $2,000 became $5,000. And they didn't even feel wealthy. They were middle class, responsible, and educated. Yet the system quietly siphoned their money while convincing them it was normal, even acceptable. The lesson is simple but profound. Always understand the true cost of borrowing. It's not what you pay today. It's what you pay in total. It's what it costs you in freedom, stress, and lost opportunity. Now, I want to give you a framework for long-term financial security that almost nobody talks about. Follow this, and you'll not only eliminate high-interest debt, you'll create a system that prevents it from returning. 1. Total awareness. Track every dollar of debt, every dollar of spending, and every dollar coming in. Know your numbers better than anyone else. 2. Attack high-interest debt. First, not smallest balance, not easiest payment. Attack the debt that costs you the most. That is where your energy compounds the fastest. 3. Build your cash buffer. 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account. This is your shield against emergencies that might otherwise force new debt. 4. Avoid lifestyle inflation. As your income grows, don't let spending follow. Raise your savings rate instead. Wealth grows faster than debt when you reinvest extra cash. 5. Educate yourself about interest and fees. Understand exactly how different credit products work, including late fees, annual fees, and retroactive interest. Knowledge is the most powerful tool against financial predators. 6. Use credit. Strategically, not habitually. Credit should only amplify wealth-building strategies, not cover recurring expenses. One card, paid in full every month, builds credit without creating financial risk. 7. Automate payments and tracking. The less you rely on memory or willpower, the more consistent and disciplined your repayment plan will be. Automation is your ally. Finally, let me remind you of a fundamental truth I've learned over decades. Your wealth is not measured by what you earn. It's measured by what you keep. Many people focus on income, career advancement, and side hustles, but they overlook the silent erosion caused by debt. Every dollar lost to interest is a dollar never invested, a dollar never compounding, a dollar never growing into freedom. Financial freedom is not complicated. It's not exotic. It doesn't require luck or insider knowledge. It requires awareness, discipline, and action. Pay off high-interest debt. Avoid creating new debt. Build savings. Invest what remains intelligently. And let compound growth work for you instead of against you. If you take this message seriously, apply these principles, and protect yourself from the hidden drains on your finances, you will be decades ahead of 90% of people, even if your income is modest. And that is true financial power. If you found this advice valuable, if you want more practical long-term financial wisdom like this, subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button and share this video with someone you care about. Because understanding debt isn't just about money. It's about freedom, security, and peace of mind. Subscribe to this channel to hear more long-form insights on money, investing, and financial freedom. Hit the like button if you learned something today. Share this video with someone you care about. Because understanding debt isn't just about money. It's about your life.